I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble.
What is it about Trump and escalators? He emerges into the public consciousness down a golden one in Trump Towers to tell you he's going to run for president, and the whole world laughs. Trump as president, that can never happen. Now, as second-term president, he enters the UN, and the escalator doesn't work. Sabotage? Was it sabotage? Let me know in the comments and chat. Another opportunity for assassination. Certainly an opportunity for fascination. He's certainly a politician that's able to respond in real time to events like a teleprompter crashing and an escalator not working. Now, I thought that I was all that and a bag of chips when I was able to keep talking at the MTV VMA Awards, I think 2009, 2010, the one where Kanye and Taylor Swift had that moment, because my teleprompter went down and I was like, oh no, you're on MTV, who cares? But in my mind, it was important. At that moment, it was important. It required of me a certain level of presence. Let's see how Trump, the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, deals with that live. And ask yourself a question. How would Kamala Harris have handled it?
And I don't mind making this speech without a teleprompter, because the teleprompter is not working. I feel very happy to be up here with you nevertheless, and that way you speak more from the heart. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble.
That's amazing. I can only tell you. Can you imagine the sweatiness of Keir Starmer? Can you imagine the kind of frantic glance to the side of Joe Biden as he walks off, not knowing which way to walk? The Macrons, the whoever. We've been so steeped in charmlessness and ineptitude. The person that's actually in the present is an incredible power of itself. Most of these people, they're not. They're captured. They're already in a box. They're boxed off bureaucrats. Right, okay, hello. Unaccustomed as I am to speaking before such illustrious audiences, I have to... Not Trump. Trump's able to go, teleprompter's not working, escalator didn't work. UN staff had been joking about the escalator. Let's have a look at that. So Mark Trump's UN staff members have joked that they may turn off the escalators and elevators and simply say they run out of money, so he has to walk up the stairs. That's funny and interesting. These days, whether it's the murder of a high-profile pundit or a simple malfunction of a mechanical object, no one's got any trust. And we're right to not have any trust. Trump's saying here that he's ended 7 wars and, that's a t-shirt. I ended 7 wars and all I got was a broken escalator. And this t-shirt.
I ended 7 wars, dealt with the leaders of each and every one of these countries, and never even received a phone call from the United Nations offering to help in finalizing the deal. All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen. But she's in great shape.
That's not how people talk. That's not how presidents talk. She's in great shape. Look at my wife. Hot wife. Look at your wife. She's a dog. That's amazing. That's me remembering the brilliant joke of Gillis there. What an extraordinary political figure he is. Instead of hating him or loving him, just think, what does this tell us? What does this tell us about our time that this is happening? What does it tell us about the UN, them stiff, stifled people sort of sat there glancing from side to side, trying to understand what's happened to power, what's happened to bureaucracy, what's happening to their managerial class, what's happening to their globalist master plan, what's happening to Project 2030 when these anomalous, peculiar, literal presidents march into the UN and are able to communicate like that. The world is changing so fast. They would have done anything to stop that guy becoming president. Anything. The whole media machine, every censorship, condemnation, and he's done it. They've just got to listen to him. Well, I suppose what we could do is make sure the escalator doesn't work. Yes, and I will fuck up the teleprompter. That's what it's been reduced to.
We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that didn't work.
Them over. The world's changing. People are talking about Jesus. People are apologizing. I think this is beautiful.
These are the 2 things I got from the United Nations: a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter.
That's pretty mystical, I would say. What I mean by mystical, let me unpack that term. It's like being able to respond in real time and make light of something that would be like, if you imagine the pressure of being the president of the United States and speaking to the UN, the escalator don't work. Whatever Trump is or isn't, he ain't like you or me, is he? He's not a normal dude. Like, he's not fretful. He's not sweaty about it. All I got was a teleprompter. It doesn't work. Escalator that broke halfway through.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Sarcastic. So he's not taking it seriously, is he? And why should he take it seriously? Because it's all total bullshit.
Now, after ending all of these wars and also earlier negotiating the Abraham Accords, which is a very big thing for which our country received no credit, never receives credit. Everyone says that I should get the Nobel Peace Prize for each one of these achievements. But for me, the real prize will be the sons and daughters who live to grow up with the mothers and fathers, because millions of people are no longer being killed in endless and unglorious wars.
Wow. Well, I wonder if that will remain true. Let me know in the comments and chat if you've heard and understand the repositioning of Trump on Putin. This being Trump, I suppose maybe is a technique or a tactic. Let me know what you think, guys. This is the kind of thing that I want from Trump. This is Trump telling the UN the inconvenient truth that they are fighting Russia while purchasing necessary resources from Russia, like oil and gas, without which their nations, economies and militaries can't function. Haven't you long craved a leader that would do stuff like that? I'm not claiming that Trump is perfect. I can see some of the challenges that are defining the United States, in particular how it's playing out in the culture. But if you're an anti-establishment person, like even a radical one who feels that all politicians are corrupt, the institutions themselves are controlled, and there's probably an occultist dimension, you still have to look at Trump and think, well, this guy is a peculiar and marvelous anomaly.
For those tariffs to be effective, European nations, all of you are gathered here right now, would have to join us in adopting the exact same measures. I mean, you're much closer to the city. We have an ocean in between. You're right there. And Europe has to step it up. They can't be doing what they're doing. They're buying oil and gas from Russia while they're fighting Russia. It's embarrassing to them. And it was very embarrassing to them when I found out about it, I can tell you that. They have to immediately cease all energy purchases from Russia. Otherwise, we're all wasting a lot of time.
Isn't it outrageous that there are European nations, whether you see Britain as European anymore since Brexit, who knows, that are advocating for further hostility against Russia while simultaneously participating in trade with Russia? What do you think about that? What does that tell us? And isn't it important and interesting that it's being brought up? Fume! It's flavoured air. Have you ever found yourself reaching out for a bad habit? Reach instead for flavoured air. Maybe it's out of stress, boredom, or just wanting to fit in. Well, that's where Fume comes in. It's not about quitting, it's about replacing. Fume, the sponsor of today's video, offers a simple and enjoyable way to break away from bad habits while still having something satisfying to reach for. Reach for Fume. No vapor, no nicotine, just flavour. Fume is the award-winning flavoured air device that delivers great taste without any harmful chemicals. Instead of inhaling vapour, you simply breathe in natural, non-toxic flavours that satisfy the craving without the downside. Great for oral fixation and fidgeting, whether you're looking to keep your hands busy or curb an urge. Fume's premium wooden design is built for flavour and function. It's sleek, portable, built to last, designed with high quality build and sleek aesthetic. Fume feels premium to your hand and you can take it anywhere. I use crispy mint flavour. That's the flavour that I use when I use Fume. When I'm reaching for something, crispy mint, that's where I go. Over 500,000 people have made the switch to Fume as part of their habit change journey. If you're ready to try it for yourself, now's the time. For a limited time, if you order the Journey Pack using my code, Russel Brand, you'll get a free Fume topper, an awesome accessory to level up your experience. Click the link tryfume.com/Russel Brand or scan the QR code on the screen to get yours today. Fume is simply flavoured air. There are worse things to do. I really enjoy this aspect of Trump where he just out of nowhere says, our building company, we're going to do the renovations on this building that we're in now. Like, that's like a normal person wouldn't say that. Let's look.
Many years ago, a very successful real estate developer in New York, known as Donald J. Trump, I bid on the renovation and rebuilding of this very United Nations complex. I remember it so well.
Well, I tell you there that his mind functions quick enough to spot that he's already said the word building and he adjusts to say the word complex. Joe Biden wouldn't have been able to do that.
Renovation and rebuilding of this very United Nations complex.
That's an indication of mental acuity and presence in itself.
I said at the time that I would do it for $500 million, rebuilding everything. It would be beautiful. I used to talk about, I'm going to give you marble floors.
Everything that's going on, he can still reminisce about pitching for a contract for a UN building, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever it was, and remember what the floors were going to be like. There's always stuff going on in his head. He presumably, he's like having meetings with Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defence, going, all right, so we're going to have to pivot on Putin, are we? He's meeting with Bobby Kennedy, and they're going like, listen, we've got all this information, then we're going to be able to prove that Pfizer and Moderna knew more than they told us when they were mandating or pushing us to mandate or seeking indemnity for them vaccines. He's got all of this stuff, and he can stop and do a joke about like marble floors in a construction deal that was 20 years ago. I can't even find the time to put a shirt on.
I'm going to give you the best of everything. You're going to have mahogany walls. They're going to give you plastic. But they decided to go in another direction, which was much more expensive at the time.
It's a dig. He's digging them out for going, look at this, please. It's a shithole.
And which actually produced a far inferior product.
He's literally attacking the building that he's standing in while he's standing in it. He's not gotten aggrieved about the escalator.
Their building concepts were so wrong, and the product that they were proposing to build was so bad and so costly. It was going to cost them a fortune. And I said, and wait till you see the overruns. Well, I turned out to be right. They had massive cost overruns and spent...
Stopped his speech. There's so much going on. There's so much going on in the world. There's all these migration crises, war, like murders that are really impactful. He stopped his speech to reminisce and reflect on them not going with his contract pitch. That is an unusual guy.
Between $2 and $4 billion on the building, and did not even get the marble floors that I promised them. You walk on terrazzo. Do you notice that?
Hyper aware, observant in the present. Did you notice that? Have you seen the grouting between these tiles behind me? It's a poor finish.
As far as I'm concerned, frankly, looking at the building and getting stuck on the escalator, they still haven't finished the job.
Actual joke. Actual joke. What a guy, man.
In Greece, the number was 54%. And in Switzerland, beautiful Switzerland, 72% of the people in prisons are from outside of Switzerland. When your prisons are filled with so-called asylum seekers who repaid kindness, and that's what they did. They repaid kindness with crime. It's time to end the failed experiment of open borders. You have to end it now.
I'd have liked more of that. I'd have liked more shots, more cutaways of them like, how's that translating in them earpieces? I would have done those marble floors for a lot less money. Is he talking about the marble floors? Escalator. Bad grouting. Structural inequality. So amazing.
See, I can tell you.
My wife is hot. Like that. They must be like, what's going on?
I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell.
How are they going to deal with that?
In America, we've taken bold action to swiftly shut down uncontrolled migration. Once we started detaining and deporting everyone who crossed the border and removing illegal aliens from the United States, they simply stopped coming. They're not coming anymore. We're getting a lot of credit, but they're not coming anymore.
Okay, here he continues along the lines of critiquing migration policy. Look, in the Netherlands, there are massive riots centred on migration. In France, massive riots because of focused at least on austerity. In the UK, huge peaceful marches centred primarily on the population's concern around migration. It's an issue. I guess that's where the misjudgment continually comes. Trump has become a authentic avatar of discontent and the requirement for a competent response. And when they attack him and say, oh, shut up, you racist, you stinking Nazi, they are by default saying it about everyone else, and then they're not able to amend. See, that's why I think that little Jimmy Kimmel moment, please God, might be important, because he's had to publicly acknowledge, I've participated in the escalation of these tensions, and it's not right to do it anymore. He's cried about Erica Kirk's speech there and Charlie Kirk's death, and now you can't suck those tears back into the duct. facts. And what that, I think, creates is a conciliatory space where people can now participate in this conversation in a different way. Like those folks there in the UN, instead of thinking Trump's vulgar, I hate him, could go now like, bloody hell, man, how are we going to deal with the phenomena of Trump, what he represents and what we're doing? Obviously, I've just answered my own question. The reason they're not doing that is because the global imperialist machine that they are part of cannot accommodate or deal with Trump and wants to destroy him and anyone like him. That doesn't mean that Trump is perfect, but he is definitely an obstacle to the absolute ascent of global imperialism. That is the evil. Not Trump. Trump is not the devil incarnate. The anodyne, tepid bureaucracies that critique and condemn him for being vulgar, they are the very devil. I would be fascinated to read the ramifications of this speech and how it's been reported on the BBC and ABC and all of the three-letter corporations, the deep state agency and the media organizations, those that hide behind acronyms and logos, initials and deception. How do they report and respond to the facts in Trump's speech? It will be very easy to point out the flaws and perhaps errors in Trump's early governance this time, and people will do it. And my biggest concern will be, we're about to have a massive war with Russia that we're all going to get pulled into, for example, just off the top of my head. But as a piercing arrow to the heart of the global imperialist machine that preceded Trump, that tried so hard to stop him in a variety of ways, that speech, what can you do to unravel that? What has he said that is not true? I know there'll be fact checkers. I bet in like the New York Times, we've fact checked Donald Trump. He said these things, but people will ridicule him for the stuff he said about his construction company. But the truth of the matter is this, that Trump is an expression of something that is, we are seeing in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, only just beginning to bloom. It is a revival, it is an awakening, and it will be the throwing off of the husk of the old ideas and the old systems. What emerges from the tomb will not be what went in. There are footprints on the way out of the tomb, not just on the way in. He is risen, we are awakening. But that's just what I think. I'm talking about Jesus, by the way, not Trump. Let me know what you think in the comments and the chat. Thanks for watching the video. Have a look at this one over here, or join us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on Rumble.